Re-Zero, Volume 3, Chapter 1, Part 1, Return to the Royal Capital. And last, stretch your arms high in the sky for the big finish. Victory! Victory! He listened to the giddy voices as he wiped the sweat off his brow. Subaru raised both hands high as he spoke his trademark phrase. A chorus followed, ending another morning's workout. The people who joined him in his exuberant radio calisthenics were residents of Roham village, the one closest to Roswell Manor. Probably half the village was present. Subaru's cheeks softened without him realizing it at the sight of the familiar buoyant faces. He wordlessly lowered his gaze a little, unable to watch them for a few moments. Subaru had suggested teaching Japanese radio calisthenics to help the village, where scars from the recent Vietnamese crisis were still fresh. This had improved its reputation among the otherworldly residents and exploded into a village-wide movement. At first, Subaru had been worried about the lack of participants, but seeing the children who had been victims of the demon beast attack enjoy themselves made him feel it was all worth it. The customs of his homeland were not to be underestimated. Radio calisthenics weren't the only popular tradition. Okay, you brats, line up! It's stamp time! Subaru raised his voice while taking out a raw potato with one end sliced flat. Subaru dipped the flat end into an ink container, then pressed it onto the sheets of paper that the queued-up children held out eagerly. The in-demand potato stamp recorded that day's fruits of labor. So how about it? In another week, we'll start the long-awaited, much-requested event, Monday Puck. The highlight will be those floppy ears. The kitty's so cute! He's wonderful! He's adorable! He'd stolen the potato stamp idea from radio calisthenics during summer break back home. A lot of kids had fun guessing what was going to be on that morning's stamp. Subaru thus used his oddly dexterous fingers to engage their young minds. After a time, his pleasant chat with the villagers came to a close. Subaru waved to them and went on his way. He approached the tree at the edge of the village square, wearily calling out to the girl leaning against the trunk in the shade. That wore me out. Anyway, sorry to keep you waiting, Amelia-tan. No, it's all right. I see you worked hard, Subaru. Amelia smoothed her silver hair with a charming smile, readjusting the hood she wore low over her face. The villagers seem much happier these days, and it's all thanks to you, Subaru. It's no big deal. I just showed them how to do some healthy exercises that get the blood flowing. But I feel bad making you come with me every morning, day after day. That's okay. You're not in tip-top shape yet, and Rem and Ram can't come because of their work at the mansion. Besides, I really don't mind doing this. As in, you don't mind spending your mornings with me? Not like that. More like, I like being even a tiny bit involved with the villagers I never used to come in contact with. I think maybe I drew a line between us until now. You could make out a small blush on Amelia's face under her hood. A lovely sight warmed Subaru's cheeks before he even realized what was happening. Lately, Amelia had often gone with him to the village as soon as she finished her daily chit-chats with the minor spirits, returned together after Subaru completed the morning workout routine. For about 15 minutes, he and Amelia would walk side by side on the way from the village back to the mansion. Subaru treasured these rare moments more than anything. I have to say, though, you really get along with the villagers, Subaru. You're probably more famous than Rem and Ram by now. Well, I am kind of the hero who saved them. Plus, I'm the ultimate gentleman who never asks for thanks, never brags about my deeds. I'm sure you'll fall in love with me all over again. I wasn't in love to begin with, mind you. Also, I think your assessment is slightly off. Amelia put a finger to her lips, tilting her head slightly with a conflicted look. For his part, Subaru was a little dejected at her brushing off his favor so easily. She continued, I think that the villagers see you as an oddly perceptive rather than a hero who saved everyone. I mean, you know some very mysterious things. So they're treating me like a well-educated professor, huh? But, besides acrobatics, I don't know all that much. There's the games you play with the children, potato stamping, also mayonnaise. Amelia clapped her hands together as her eyes sparkled. She'd become a huge fan of the experimental mayonnaise Subaru made at the mansion. Subaru, a natural-born mayo lover back on his world, had reproduced mayonnaise to put some zest in his meals. The sauce was apparently a smash hit with Amelia and the villagers. I think they're underselling my hard work a bit. They think mayonnaise and rescuing children from demon beasts are on the same level. I mean, I put my body on the line and everything. He'd gone into the forest to save the children and gotten bitten all over. When Rem went out to save him from certain death, he protected her and gotten bitten, and he was about to be bitten some more when Roswell showed up to save him. Huh? Come to think of it, I did, almost nothing. Thinking back on his exploits, they amounted to considerably less than he'd originally thought. Perhaps it was better to say that he'd been involved in many exploits, but his individual efforts had accomplished close to nothing. Sheesh, don't worry about silly little things like that. But, Emiliaton, everyone knows you worked very hard, Subaru. Roswell, Ram, and especially Ram, right? Subaru's expression remained pathetic in spite of Amelia's encouragement. She ran a few steps ahead of him and turned around. Sudden movement sent her hood falling back, letting her long silver hair flow down her back, sparkling in the morning sun. And me too. Huh? I know very well how hard you worked. That's why we will have no moping. Understand? Amelia tilted her head and asked, Your answer? The dumbfounded Subaru vigorously nodded his head. His reaction prompted a beaming smile from Amelia. What was that? You were moving like a broken toy. You're always like that. This time it wasn't on purpose. And besides, you're 100 times more unfair. No matter how much I struggle, I just keep falling back in love. Yes. I think you just have a very bad habit of glossing things over, like just now. Amelia wore a charming smile, oblivious to the sincerity of his words. Watching her put her hood back on and walk beside him once more, Subaru thought again that he'd never find a better girl than this. The gate of Roswell Manor had come into view during the course of their conversation. A few meager minutes remained until they arrived, and the regretful end to his morning bliss. There's a dragon carriage parked in front of the mansion. When Amelia paused beside Subaru and murmured, he stopped too, looking in the same direction. There was indeed something like a horse-drawn carriage parked at the gates. It was something like, because the vehicle was clearly not horse-drawn. After all, the creature pulling the carriage was a lizard as large as a horse. Subaru was so surprised at its sheer size compared to the lizards back home, that he wound up clapping his hands together. Oh, right. I saw those passing through the royal capital here and there. Dragon carriages, you say? Huh? Yes, the land dragon pulls the carriage that's behind it, so it's a dragon carriage. Wait, don't tell me it has a common name I don't know? No. I'm the one who knows nothing about it. I'm sure you're right, Emiliaton. Have confidence in yourself. Really? You're not teasing me? You're not going to embarrass me by letting me use the wrong words in the wrong place, are you? If you're pulling my leg, I'll clobber you. Nobody says clobber anymore. When Amelia raised a hand in mock anger, Subaru clutched his head and pretended to recoil. Their antics continued as they made their way forward, arriving in front of the dragon carriage. Whoa. Damn, this is impressive. It's so huge it's unreal. He'd seen these several times back during his time in the royal capital, but this was his first good look at one up close. The lizard that Amelia dubbed a land dragon was indeed as large as a horse, but thinner and lighter. It looked like it'd beat a horse in a foot race. As the two approached, a man stood up from the dragon carriage's box seat and announced, My, please look out below. Before the startled pair's eyes, the man agilely leaped from the top of the seat to stand on the ground below. Subaru's breath caught a bit when he noticed he'd barely made a sound upon landing. The box seat was around Subaru's eye level, not a height to casually leap from. The old man bowed and spoke with eloquence befitting an aged gentleman. Welcome back. Please excuse me for currently occupying the front of your gate. He politely stroked the back of his solid white hair before donning an immaculately tailored black suit. Though advanced in years, his body was obviously honed into fine condition, and his aura made Subaru subconsciously stand up straighter. If this man was indeed the driver, and therefore a servant, the master he accompanied had to be quite the person. Thinking this, Subaru shifted his gaze back to the dragon carriage. The envoy is already inside the manor, and possibly engaged with Marquis Mathers. The aging gentleman seemed to read their minds and answered their question preemptively. Subaru was unexpectedly at a loss for words as Amelia, standing beside him, stepped forward and faced the old man. Envoy? Could this be... As you have no doubt surmised, Lady Amelia, this concerns the royal selection. At the term royal selection, Subaru's head snapped up. The way Amelia's expression tensed had Subaru furrowing his eyebrows, suspicious about this turn of events. The man continued, I believe this envoy has an official message for you. Please return to the mansion to receive it in person. Am I being summoned? Please as the messenger, personally. The old man's discreet reply caused Amelia's face to harden as she lowered her head. Let's go. She began walking without even looking back at Subaru. He broke into a short jog to catch up. At the last moment, he glanced back and saw that the driver was still bowing low, silently watching them go. Welcome back, Lady Amelia. After the driver saw them off, the two arrived at the mansion's foyer and were greeted by a girl in a maid outfit, Rem. Strangely, emotions were absent from her high-pitched voice, replaced with calm formality. It was guest greeting mode, something Subaru hadn't seen much in the mansion lately. She'd been showing her smile to Subaru especially. Thank you. I'm sorry for leaving the mansion. It seems that we have a guest? An envoy from the royal capital is visiting. Master Roswell is engaged with the guest. Do you wish to join them? Of course. It's my problem, so he can't have me out of the loop. Rem nodded in response. Amelia began up the stairs. Subaru walked by her side, joined the conversation like it was a normal thing. All right. Just because the pressure's on doesn't mean I can let it get to me. I better pull myself together and not do anything stupid. He was pumping himself up, but seeing Subaru so enthralled, Amelia halted. What is it, Amelia-tan? Suddenly all stressed out? Need a massage? Sorry, Subaru. This is an important meeting, so... I know that. That's why I'm getting my head in the game and... Amelia was finding it hard to let him down easy, so Rem dispassionately cut him off for her. Sister is already attending in the reception room. There is no place there for other servants. Understand? Subaru took in Rem's words and looked back at Amelia. You're kidding, right? I'm the one who's out of the loop? Sorry, Subaru. Rem, lead the way. Yes. Subaru, please return to your room. After Amelia's small apology, Rem spoke kindly to Subaru even while in work mode. Rem walked off to the upper floor with Amelia behind her. Subaru stayed in place and clicked his tongue. Well, I don't know much about this world, so it probably wouldn't be of much use anyway. He wondered if it was selfish that he still wanted to be a part of this. It had been approximately 1 month since Subaru had been summoned into another world. During that time, Subaru had taken it upon himself to favorably alter the destinies of the people with whom he'd become involved. Amelia was the first, but his rapport with the people in the mansion and the village was proof he'd done some good. In light of that, he was disappointed he hadn't been included in such an important issue. I'm being left behind here, literally and metaphorically. Of course, he accepted that his limited talents were the main reason why. But accepting that and giving up are two different things. What should I do, huh? Surunatsky wasn't meek enough to simply want her back to his room and soak in bed. He sank into thought, trying to cook up an approach to deal with the situation his way. Finally, Subaru's face twisted into an evil grin as he thought of something and snapped his fingers. Ding.